Welcome to the Group Life and Voluntary Supplemental Benefits Seminar. In this presentation given today, we're going to go over in detail group life benefits, which include basic life, business travel insurance, and select life insurance. Also on our agenda is the voluntary supplemental benefits, which includes life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment, short and long-term disability, and critical illness. In addition, we'll talk some about our added services that our vendor MetLife offers. Basic insurance is part of our group life insurance. It covers employee life insurance, dependent life, and employee accidental death and dismemberment. Basic life is not something that you'll need to enroll in during this open enrollment period. All permanent and long-term non-perm State of Alaska employees are eligible for this coverage, and some participating political subdivisions as well. The premium is paid for by your employer, so you have no out-of-pocket cost for this coverage. Listed here on the fourth bullet point are the bargaining units that have $10,000 in coverage. All other employees, the basic life will pay $2,000. Another group life benefit is the dependent life. If your spouse passes away, this plan will pay $1,000. If your dependent child passes away, this plan will pay by age bracket as listed here, which goes by industry standard. Starting at $100 from age 14 days to 6 months old, and goes up with age, with the last bracket up to $1,000 if your dependent child is between ages 14 and 19 years of age, or up to age 23 if your child is a full-time student. If you're a legal guardian by court order, then the child is covered. Basic accidental death and dismemberment covers you as the employee only in the event of losses that occur within 100 days of an accident as a result of accidental bodily injury, independent of all other causes, or for loss of life. The chart here outlines the total of the benefit for the type of loss. For the loss of life, coverage is $5,000. If you lose one limb or eye, the coverage is $2,500. If you lose any combination of hand, foot, or sight in one eye, the coverage is $5,000. Next, we will go over the details for the business travel accident insurance, which includes employee life and employee accidental death and dismemberment. Travel accident is also insurance that is not necessary to enroll in during this open enrollment period. This insurance covers all State of Alaska employees while traveling on state business. The premium is paid for by the State of Alaska. The coverage amount depends on your bargaining unit. For all bargaining units listed here on the fourth bullet point, it pays $200,000. For the labor, trades, and crafts bargaining unit, it pays $100,000. For the bargaining units listed on the last bullet point, it pays $75,000. This next slide is a chart outlining the percentage of coverage for the accidental death and dismemberment for the business travel insurance. The percentage of the coverage is listed on the left side of the type of loss experienced. The percent referred to is of either the $200,000, $100,000, or $75,000 per bargaining unit as mentioned in the previous slide. As you can see, the percent differs depending on the type of loss. MetLife offers a number of added services. The services they offer as part of the benefit to the basic life insurance is counseling and guidance for the challenging times, such as grief counseling, which is designed to provide support tools and services for coping with a loss or serious medical condition. MetLife will provide phone or face-to-face grief counseling. Also, you can receive online document service to assist in will preparation at willscenter.com. And continuing on this slide with added services connected to having basic life insurance are funeral assistance planning, which includes a funeral planning guide that will help with locating funeral homes, getting cost estimates, and finding support groups. The total control account, a standard method to pay death claims, and then there is MetLife Infinity. This is an online resource to create a legacy for your beneficiaries or estate planner that will help keep all your wills and power of attorneys all in one place. Moving on now to Select Life Insurance. Select Life Insurance includes employee life insurance and employee accidental death and dismemberment. And if you're a defined benefit member, it is something you can possibly continue into retirement. Most permanent and long-term non-permanent employees have the ability to elect Select Life. The employee pays the premium and it only covers the employee, no dependent coverage. The benefit equals your annual salary rounded to the nearest 1,000, up to the maximum of either 100,000 for bargaining units, supervisory, and confidential, or 60,000 for all other eligible employees. The premium is paid with post-tax payroll deductions, and you can now enroll online during the open enrollment period. The Select Life Accidental Death and Dismemberment pays double the eligible benefit if a death is accidental. The death must occur within 100 days of any accident and be clearly linked to the accident. Example, if you have $58,000 in Select Life and your death is an accident, $116,000 will be paid. Select Life coverage includes accidental death and dismemberment benefits, which are payable for the losses that occur within 100 days of an accident and because of accidental bodily injury, independent of all other causes, or for loss of life. The chart here outlines the total of the benefit for the type of loss. For the loss of life, coverage is paid at 100%. For the loss of one limb or eye, the coverage is 50%. If you lose any combination of hand, foot, or sight in one eye, the coverage pays 100%. Next, we're going to go over the details for the voluntary supplemental benefits. These benefits include life insurance, accidental death and dismemberment, short and long-term disability, and critical illness. We have listed for you here the state of Alaska positions that are not eligible for the VSB insurance. Please be sure you're eligible to enroll in the VSB before you do. We now have a pop-up window during the open enrollment process for you to confirm your eligibility before you proceed with your enrollment. The additional groups that are being excluded are short-term non-PERMs and student interns. There are some participating political subdivisions that are eligible as well. Any employee that is a part of the Alaska Supplemental Annuity Plan are eligible to enroll. Please contact your Human Resource Office if you're not sure whether you're eligible to enroll. The VSB life insurance pays in a lump sum. The employee pays the premium by pre-tax payroll deduction. The available levels of coverage are listed here, ranging from $10,000 up to $300,000. Coverage levels of $200,000 and $300,000 do require a statement of health to be completed. The statement of health is required for VSB life insurance if you choose coverage of over $100,000 as an industry standard. This establishes proof of good health and protects an employer's group insurance program from adverse risk. If you elect $200,000 or $300,000 in coverage, you will be covered at $100,000 until approval. If denied, your coverage will remain at $100,000. You will have the choice to complete your statement of health online or by mail. The VSB accidental death and dismemberment pays for accidental death or loss of a body part, regardless of the level of coverage you choose of the voluntary supplemental life. The maximum accidental death coverage is $100,000. For accidental death and dismemberment, you can choose either employee only or employee and family coverage. The employee and family coverage includes spouse and dependent children, listed here for dependent eligibility, begins at age 14 days old up to age 23. If your dependent is over age 19, they must be enrolled in a school full-time. They must be dependent upon you for support in living with you and unmarried. In order to elect this benefit, you will be required to elect at least $10,000 in the supplemental life insurance. The VSB AD&D coverage is paid out depending on the composition of your family at the time of death. This chart lists the amount of the lump sum payout based on your family. If you're married and have any children, it will pay out as listed in the first scenario. If you're married but have no children, it'll be the second. And the last is if you are not married but do have children. The dismemberment portion of the VSB AD&D is very similar to the Select AD&D, with the loss of life paying 100% of the benefit, or if you have the loss of one of any limb or eye being half of the benefit. If both eyes, hands, or feet, or any combination of two limbs, the payout would be the full benefit. This AD&D coverage, however, also covers loss of thumb and index finger of the same hand, which is 25% of the benefit. The next few slides will talk about the details to the VSB critical illness insurance. This insurance is designed to complement an employee's medical and disability income coverage upon diagnosis of an illness. It provides a lump sum benefit to pay any expenses you might incur, such as uncovered travel for treatment, temporary housing while being treated away from home, or airfare for a family member to travel with the employee. There are two plans available to choose from, a $15,000 plan and a $30,000. In addition to the full face value, each plan may cover reoccurrences for certain conditions. Some of the covered conditions are listed here: cancer, heart attack, stroke, major organ transplant, and more. There are 22 other conditions not listed here that if diagnosed with, you will receive 25% of the initial benefit. You can find the full list of covered conditions on our website. The claims for critical illness are initiated through MetLife. They will require a physician statement from a physician in the area of specialty. There is no pre-existing condition limitation in the event of a heart attack or stroke. The plan also has a monetary payout for health screenings. $50 if you're covered for the $15,000 plan, or $100 if you choose the $30,000 coverage. On this slide, we're providing the MetLife Critical Illness contact number for you if you have any other questions. Please call 800-438-6388.
Portability of certain coverage is now available through MetLife. Basic, Select, VSB Life, and Critical Illness are portable benefits. Portability ensures you can continue coverage after terminating the employment relationship. Rates are based on your current age and differ from the rates you paid while employed. MetLife will bill you monthly for your coverage. The option to make monthly payments via electronic funds transfer is available. Seasonal Permanent will also have portability, but when you return to work, you must rejoin the active group plan.
When thinking about whether or not to enroll in the short-term disability or long-term disability plan, some of the things to consider would be: 1, if you are a defined benefit member, you would have to be vested to apply for a PERS non-occupational disability. 2, if you are a Tier 4 DCR member, you do not have a non-OC disability, so this could be that. It is possible that if you are approved for a non-occupational disability as a DB member, or you use your balance of your PERS as a DCR member, that it may not be sufficient. The Voluntary Long-Term Disability Plan pays 50% or 70% of your salary. If you're relying on Social Security disability, it will only pay if you're vested and have worked for a covered employer in the last 5 years, and the state of Alaska is a non-covered employer. The definition of disability is that you must be unable to perform the material and substantial duties of the job and not be working in another occupation. The plan pays 60% of your salary, or a maximum of $577 weekly per month for 180 days, which begins from the date of absence due to the disability. Coverage would start on the 31st day if all your leave is exhausted, and not until then. So keep that in mind when choosing this coverage if you have a large leave balance. On this timeline provided, it will help you to put into perspective what you can expect to see if you choose both short-term and long-term disability. If you're first disabled and cannot go to work on October 1st, the short-term disability waiting period will exhaust on October 31st. And as long as all paid leave is exhausted, that will be when your benefit begins. However, if you continue to receive paid leave for another 2 weeks, your short-term disability benefit won't begin until November 15th. The 180 days for the short-term disability will be reached by March 29th, and then the long-term disability will begin. The VSB long-term disability plan has 2 levels of coverage to choose from. Plan B covers at 50% of your monthly base wage, and Plan C covers at 70% of your monthly base wage. Initially, you must be totally disabled from your own occupation, and after 24 months, you must be disabled from any occupation. The coverage starts after 180 days of disability and pays as long as you're disabled. Up to age 65 if disabled prior to 60, and from 1 to 4 years if disabled after age 60. There is a pre-existing condition clause for both the short and long-term disability options, which is any condition for which you are treated, diagnosed, saw a doctor, or took medication in the 3 months before your coverage started. If you're disabled in the first year of coverage due to a pre-existing condition, the plan will not pay any benefits. If you have any questions regarding STD or LTD claims processing, please contact MetLife at 866-729-9200. It is important to keep in mind before choosing short-term or long-term disability that if you have any other income defined as a disability or retirement benefit required by law, it will be subtracted from the amount you would receive from disability, including retirement, workers' compensation, or Social Security. We have created this chart to illustrate how your benefit could look in the scenario when taking into account other income. Assuming your covered salary is $4,000, if you have Plan C, which is 70% of your salary, your benefit would be $2,800 a month. Then assuming you are eligible for a retirement benefit of $1,500, if you're not eligible for any other income, your benefit would be $1,300. But then if you are eligible for a Social Security benefit of $700, that reduces your benefit insurance to $600 a month. The minimum payment for LTD is $100 a month. There are some added services offered by our vendor, MetLife, that you could be entitled to if you enroll in long-term disability, which are a work incentive benefit, which claimants can receive up to 100% of their pre-disability earnings, including disability benefit rehab work earnings, rehab incentives, and other income sources. There is a rehabilitation benefit, which increases monthly benefits by up to 10% when a claimant participates in an approved rehab program. They also offer a family care expense reimbursement, which is reimbursement for the care of a family member if the claimant works or participates in an approved rehab program while disabled. There are also added services offered if you are enrolled in any of the VSB insurances offered. You will have access to either face-to-face or by phone legal services to prepare a will, living will, or power of attorney. If you prefer and choose an out-of-network attorney, you can receive a set fee reimbursement. Or there's estate resolution services, which provides probate services face-to-face or by phone to an executor or administrator of your estate and the estate of your spouse, which includes document preparation and completion of a correspondence necessary to transfer non-probate assets. If you elect $50,000 or greater life volume, you will be subject to imputed income. These selections, when combined with the new $10,000 basic life, exceeds the IRS $50,000 limit on employer-paid and pre-tax life coverage. The imputed income will be based on age and the IRS uniform premium tables. Be sure to complete a beneficiary form for all life and accidental death and dismemberment coverages that apply to you. Possible coverage is listed here, either group life or voluntary supplemental benefits. The forms are all listed on our website under the Forms and Brochures tab. You'll find it alphabetically under Beneficiary Forms. If you do not enroll during the open enrollment period, your coverage will carry over to the next benefit year. Premiums will recalculate based on your current age and base wage for life and disability insurances, and also critical illness. Outside of open enrollment, members may change benefits only during the following qualified status changes: gaining or losing a dependent through birth, adoption, marriage, divorce, or death, or dependent is no longer eligible, or the spouse begins or ends employment or begins extended leave without pay, or you or your spouse change from full-time or part-time or vice versa. Pictured in this slide is a screenshot of the Retirements and Benefits homepage, alaska.gov/DRB. You can begin your enrollment by either going to the tab labeled My R&B on the left of the screen, or by clicking on Insurance Enrollment on the right of the screen under Changes. The next screen you'll be taken to is this screen, where you would click on Login on the right of the screen to log in using your MyAlaska login. If you don't have a MyAlaska login, you can click on Create a MyAlaska account. Your MyAlaska login is the same as the login used to enroll for your permanent dividend, so this screen may look familiar to you. Once logged in, you should see on the left of the screen an option to select for an online benefit enrollment. On the right of this screen, you should have all your personal information listed. On this screen, you'll see that the change reason on the left is auto-filled to open enrollment when enrolling during the open enrollment period, unless you're a new hire. Right above that, the health dependent enrollment is where you'd make any changes if you have any changes to your dependents. On the right side, if you have multiple employers, you'll need to select which account you're enrolling under. Before you can proceed to your selection page, you'll need to confirm that you're not in a position that is ineligible for the voluntary supplemental benefits. It lists for you what those positions are: TERS members, interns, short-term non-perm or temp legislative employees. Once you select No, it'll allow you to proceed with making your elections. On the election page, you'll see on the left of your screen in yellow your benefits that you have today, which is helpful in doing comparing. Before your selections are submitted, it will give you a total cost per month so you can confirm your total on the next page before submission. And remember, if you change your mind within the open enrollment period, you can do another enrollment to override your previous submission. Some suggestions for the next steps you could take from here would be, if you are covered under the Alaska Care Health, then watch or attend the Alaska Care Health presentation to learn about the options and updates to your health plan. You can review on our website the open enrollment materials and presentations at alaska.gov/DRB. Also, if you don't have your MyAlaska sign-in information, we've provided you here with a contact email or phone numbers for your area to help with any questions related to getting access. Please review your current benefits, decide which options you want, and enroll. Thanks again for joining me today.